Are you ever nervous about speaking in meetings? Have you ever felt like an imposter? Let's cover these fears. They're basically our enemies. I was asked to be the president of a fairly large chamber of commerce, and I hate it and didn't feel confident about speaking in public, speaking up in a meeting, being in front of a large group and giving a presentation. Well, guess what? I had to get over that because I was president of the Chamber of Commerce. I had to be a leader. So I had to get in there and do something I didn't like, something I feared. And guess what? The more I did it, the more I liked it. It actually got to be kind of fun. And people were always very friendly and smiley and that. It was a great experience. And it showed me that I could do it. So let's talk about this. I know in ESL, speaking up in a meeting in English, if you're a Spanish speaker or Portuguese speaker or Italian or whatever, can make you nervous. And you might be afraid of the fear of judgment, being judged by mistakes, poor grammar, or mispronunciations. Well, guess what? If you are intermediate or upper intermediate and you prepare yourself, you can do a good job at this. Even I get a lot of advanced English speakers who are still so afraid of grammar and that, mistakes in pronunciation. And I think it comes from the way they were taught in school, where they were marked, they evaluated. And guess what? Business and IT is not like this. We want to hear your message, okay? So listen well to whatever you're going to message about. Understand it and think about delivering your message very concisely. If you have a little story to tell, that's great. Make it pretty short. Don't get into a 10-minute story. Native English people like myself understand that foreign English speakers are not going to be perfect. And guess what? The natives aren't going to be perfect either. How about the lack of fluency in vocabulary? Fearing a lot of students come to me saying they need to learn more vocabulary or their vocabulary is not high enough level. I had a lady this morning who said she's a lawyer. She's from Mexico. And she said she wants to sound very eloquent in this. Well, that's okay. And that will come with natural learning and that. But the lawyers I know are good communicators. They get their message out there. They listen, they consider, and then they deliver a good message. Understand, listen, truly listen. People want to be listened to. How about this one? Self-doubt and imposter syndrome. Do you ever suffer from this? You're just criticizing yourself. You are your worst enemy. Why do we fear this stuff so much? Why do we pick on ourselves so much? It's so funny, isn't it? So we need to build confidence. We need to reassure ourselves often and understanding that people don't expect us to be perfect. And you're not an imposter. If you're in that meeting, you're there for a meeting, for a reason. You were invited. Somebody said, yes, she has a lot to give. Misunderstanding cultural nuances. Are you afraid you might insult somebody? It's good to have some basic understanding of cultural nuances, but I'm finding that people in business and IT and that are kind of becoming world citizens today. We're all understanding of the different cultural nuances a bit, and people understand if we mess up or something, if we shake the wrong hand of somebody maybe from the eat, we say something that's might be misunderstood. We try not to insult people, but they understand the differences. And we just do as well as we can. How about trying to be perfect? I'd say the majority of my students have master's degrees. At least they have an undergrad degree, and they have a lot of experience typically, or they're getting experience. But nobody's flawless. We're human. We're going to make mistakes, and people understand it. And we have to accept our humanness, don't we? How about the fear of not being understood? Concern that your accent or your phrasing will cause miscommunication. Well, ask yourself if it's true, okay? I find that generally accent's not a problem. And if it's a problem, speak a little slower and try to enunciate your words clearly. What I stress with my students is trying to have very good pronunciation. We practice minimal pairs and different things to just get you to automatically say the words with English phonetics and that. And often tongue twisters will help you a lot in this regard, and reading out loud, recording yourself. But just be as good as you can. And when you're giving the presentation, just slow down and try to speak clearly. Over-reliance on technical knowledge. We can bore the pants off people if we get too technical, can't we? Depending on your audience. Now, if you're speaking to a group of engineers about some kind of construction method, well, then you're probably going to have to be a bit. But if you're an engineer and you're speaking to a mixed audience about a new project or something, well, then you're going to have to put it in everyday language. Go away from the technical talk, or define what you're talking about when you use technical terms. We can all get through this. How about lack of practice in real business context? Well, how are you going to get the practice if you don't do it? Take every opportunity to do it, and guess what? Every time you do it, you're going to get a bit better. Try to prepare as much as you can, and practice and practice. The doing is going to solve your problem. I've seen this over and over and over again, and you're going to prove to yourself that you can do this. Some people are speaking too fast, too slow. I don't care if you're speaking a little too slow. I like to promote fluency over accuracy. But the big problem is when people get nervous and they start speaking too fast. Slow it down. Be calm. Deliver your message. That is the reason you're speaking. Deliver your message concisely. Get it out. And maybe limited listening comprehension. Is that one of your problems? Probably isn't, but maybe you're listening to people who have a strong accent or whatever. So just be ready to explain to them that you are a foreign English speaker, you value their ideas, you're understanding most of what they're saying, but would they just slow it down a little bit so you don't miss an important point? We have to be ourselves. We have to let people know we're not following them. Let them know that we're not completely following them, and ask them if they could just dial it back a little bit. And are you afraid of negative feedback? Generally, I find people are very friendly and very positive, and accept some feedback. If it's concrete, directed, precise advice, well, accept it. But if it's not reasonable, just let them know, no, I don't quite agree with you. But don't be worried about feedback. Feedback helps us get better every time, doesn't it? So I hope you liked this. I'm Teacher Burt.